A very good day to you all. Welcome to the special interview session with the chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Nigeria and, of course, indeed in Ondo State. I have with me this afternoon Prince Diran Iyantan. Of course, he's a federal commissioner at the National Population Commission. He is a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State. We're going to be looking at some national issues. Thank you so much for your time. It's good to have you on the program. Let me start with this issue of restructuring. The belief of many people is that your party set out at a time to restructure this country, and that was what necessitated the establishment of the Nasir Rufai Committee on True Federalism. But all of a sudden, some persons believe your party backtracked from what it promised the people, such that a party that was favorably disposed to restructuring see no reason why this country should be restructured. And the argument is that with restructuring, 80% of this country's challenges and problems are solved.
Well, the issue of restructuring is an age-long issue. And it's a very fundamental issue that should be of great concern to all well-meaning Nigerians. We know that a lot of things are wrong with the present system of government, which is supposed to be federalism. And since after the Agui-Ironsi government that corrupted our federalism into semi-unitary system when it took over power, we have not come out of this problem. So I believe that the issue of restructuring even transcends a government. It's a thing that should be of great concern to all Nigerians, and all hands must be on deck to tackle that such issue. For example, I'm looking at a memorandum, a situation where a government will initiate the process of memorandum to determine the position of the people, what the people want in terms of our restructuring. Because restructuring takes some other dimensions than we perceive. One thing, are we going back to, are we trying to activate true federalism, which is what we proclaim to practice now? If we are to activate true federalism by involving the spirit of financial federalism, which is fiscal federalism, which is the most fundamental aspect of it. Because if there's fiscal federalism, every other thing will fall in line. So we are looking at that, and that has been very difficult to achieve for the reason best known to subsequent governments in Nigeria. Even for some people that we thought were highly progressive, that we felt that when they get to power, they will kickstart a process of activating true federalism. When they got there, because of the massive power and the presidential system that we operate, they just refused to do something. So it's not a problem of APC or this present government. It's a problem of Nigeria, that everybody must come together and see what we can do about restructuring the country.
So it's not possible for everybody to gather together, and so you have the National Assembly, which is representing the people there. Okay, so any hope in the National Assembly, the legislature?
Well, it's very unfortunate that the legislation have not been taken that way, and it would have been very easy if we have had a National Assembly that is inclined towards this dynamism. But they have not. The National Assembly, even if you want to go through a constitutional, amendment process, and you want to go through the National Assembly, it becomes very cumbersome, very difficult, and there will be a lot of distortion. There are some people that will just create some problems there that will not want the thing go through because of suspicion that is targeted at them. It's not. It's meant to marginalize some people. It's meant to remove, the influence of certain people. So the National Assembly, I'm highly suspicious of them.
Okay, you're suspicious of them. Let's look at these. The Nasir Rufai Committee on True Federalism. If your party picks up the recommendations, do you think it will give Nigeria as a country what majority of the people want? Because there is this argument. Take for instance, okay, you are the chairman of Yoruba Ronu. Afenifere believes until this country goes back to regionalism, okay, there may not be a headway. So should President Muhammad Buhari tomorrow ask or call for the implementation of that committee's report on true federalism, do you see a solution in sight?
Well, I've not seen the
recommendations.
Yes, the recommendation of that committee, because I don't expect much from such committee.
You don't expect much?
Yes,
why?
Yes, because the issue of true federalism transcends just setting up a committee to work out true federalism. I think it's more fundamental than that. As we have said now, you said that the Yoruba believe in the Afenifere and the Yoruba believe in a regional arrangement or things like that. If we can achieve that, it could be a step in the right direction if we start with fiscal federalism, which I'm very sure some people are scared of. If we could start with fiscal federalism, it could be a very good starting point.
So if President Muhammad Buhari says he does not understand the concept of restructuring the Nigerians are clamoring for, do you see him being fair to Nigerians?
It depends on what he meant. You see, at times, people take the comments of the president like a religious testament.
Shouldn't
and
they?
He's a human being. At times, he will say certain thing, and his intention may not be the interpretation that we give to it. If he says that he doesn't understand what they mean by restructuring, he may be talking from the perspective of the different diversified views of Nigerians about restructuring. This one will say this, another one will say that. He may be saying that it is confusing to him or things like that. But he doesn't say that Nigeria is close to restructuring.
Do you believe in regionalism?
Well, if it is well articulated and if it is well structured, I believe in it.
Okay.
If it is well structured in a way that it will meet the yearning of the people, especially in activating developmental, strides of the components, I will support it.
Okay, because I asked that question because a lot of people believe that the Southwest region developed faster, than our counterpart because regionalism was embraced at that time, such that Awolowo had maybe over 70% of the revenue realized from the region to fix some critical infrastructure. Today we talk of the Cocoa House, we talk of NTA, we talk of so many of these firsts that we were able to record at that time. And they are attributing it, some persons will attribute it to the fact that regionalism was entrenched at that time. Is it one that you want to recommend, for this nation at this time?
Yeah, I think we can have our own peculiar system of government, born out of these different types of government that we have. We can have our own peculiar, specially structured regionalism, which will meet our peculiarities and be able to, be practicable within our climate. So it may not be just as the white man defined it that it should be. But I believe that when we have that kind of government, which I think is confederation by look, where the regions were empowered, were given certain responsibility and allowed to control their resources while they pay tax to the center. If that is what we are going to have out of our own proposed regionalism, I think it will go a long way in reducing the tension in this country and accelerating progress and development. Because if we all concentrate on this federal something, everybody wants to go and have a bite of the national cake, and devoid of patriotism. Everybody believes that Abuja belongs to all, the federal government money belongs to all. We don't have any passion for, the heads of the central economy. We just have a dip like it's no man's business. I think if we have a way to discourage such mentality through a system of government that we give power down to the regions, I think Nigeria will be better for it.
Okay, Nigeria will be better for it. Let's look at the APC. Why has it been so difficult to come to terms as regards who leads the APC? Why is that the case? A date was scheduled for the convention. We're hearing rumor that this date is shaky, as there is the likelihood that it may be postponed.
It could be postponed, I'm very sure. It's not shaky. I don't feel there is any serious problem about that. It's natural that you have hiccups here and there at times when you are trying to pull together these things of such a magnitude, especially in logistics and others. And it is crystal clear now to everybody that the totality of the membership of the members of the party have made an emphatic statement that we don't want postponement, we don't want shift of date anymore. And the president has spoken to, and the leadership of the present caretaker committee has assured Nigerians that we are going to hold our convention at the fixed date, and there is not going to be any shift again. So I'm very sure people are preparing for the convention. Everybody is preparing. Nobody has had anything contrary. So it's going to hold.
Okay, so there seems to be a battle for the soul of the APC. The Abuja forces are battling the Bodilion forces. Who wins at the end of the day?
Well, I'm not aware of that. I don't know who the Abuja forces are.
You know who the Abuja forces are?
And
but you are aware of the Bodilion forces?
It depends on what. All these things are political speculation, When we look at the system and you cannot really see deep into what transpires behind the curtains, you begin to speculate. Okay,
so let us.
So there is no problem about that. I know we are going to have a very, democratic convention where in a democratic process we will elect a chairman and other,
Okay, so who becomes the chairman? The Bodilion forces are actually the ones that are out working for Tinubu, whereas the Abuja forces, of course, you know who they are. Now, these ones belong to the camp of Mr. President, perhaps the old CPC structure. There is this belief that this forthcoming convention will determine where the pendulum will swing in 2023. And so none of these factions want to leave anything to chances.
Well, I still insist that I don't have much inkling of all these factions. But I know that politics is about lobbying, groupings, and things like that. They are just the necessary things, you do in politics. But about who controls the soul of the party? Well, it's God that controls the soul of everything. But I know that the party will come together to bring forth one person that will be essentially, qualified, who have the well-wisdom and the experience and the requisite, experience to be able to hold the party. Being
Together.
the biggest party in Africa today, you need somebody.
Is APC bigger than the PDP now? The PDP once boasted that.
That was once. We have overtaken them for a long time.
So APC is the largest party in Africa.
The largest, almost the size of PDP now. Twice the size of PDP now.
PDP.
Yes, now. Look at the states, the number of states controlled by the APC. Look at the number of governors in the camp with the APC party, and the number of legislators, both houses in the National Assembly.
Though the PDP will claim you are intimidating those people. When Dave Umahi come to the APC, when Ben Ayade come to the APC, it was said that all the APC needed to do was to wield a big stick, which to them is a sign of what is to come.
There are members of APC that are undergoing prosecution in the law courts, and nobody has withdrawn their cases. Yes, the APC members, so many of them, they are in the court, and the president has not even looked at that because he only believes that the rule of law should take it.
Let's stick to 2023. The man, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, he has taken his battle to Mr. President, telling him, maybe first of them, that sparks of some guts, I want to take over from you. I'm interested in your job come 2023. Now, that has somehow generated some ripples within the party. Some persons believe, no, Osinbajo is the best man for the job. Oh, I'm sure you heard, okay, the kind of campaign launched against the person of Tinubu, highly ridiculous, okay, that he went to the north and all that, a part of his body being circled. We know all of this happened in politics. But what these ones are saying is, Tinubu is rather too old for this job, considering the fact that even President Muhammadu Buhari himself at 75, 76 complained of the fact that age is weighing him down. So, in this scheme, how important is Tinubu?
Well, Tinubu is a political leader in Nigeria, the national leader of APC, who has paid his dues.
Is it the national leader or one of the national leaders?
Okay, let us put it that way, one of the national leaders. But it's often referred to with the unique reference that is the national leader. Whichever is has paid his dues, and it is on record that he contributed immensely to the emergence of this government. Because even Mr. President, we know him to be a very persistent person in the the presidential elections in the past. He ran three times.
3 times.
And he lost. And he pursued even his case to Supreme Court. But by the time he had a political synergy and understanding with the camp of Tinubu, I think the tide changed and were able to win the presidential election. So that is a very emphatic statement that Tinubu is very, very important in Nigerian politics. So if he now feels that he wants to contest the presidency, at least, number one, I'm very happy about that he's doing it out of his own personal conviction. He's not a reluctant aspirant. He has said it emphatically that it's an age-long ambition. So it means that he has been planning for it, he has been ruminating over it, and he has been strategizing for it. So we are not going to have an accidental president if he emerges. So if he has such plan, and I think it is just absolutely necessary for him to intimate Mr. President, who is a political ally, and being the number one citizen of the country, you should be able to tell him that I want to step into your shoes. And I think it's
yes. Okay, but there are some questions trailing the declaration of interest by Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. One, many people would refer to what he did in Lagos State, but the likes of Chief Bode George believes Tinubu has mixed Lagos State. They believe, oh, who is he? Where was he? Okay, what was his status like before he became the governor? So there are those who believe that no, Asiwaju Tinubu is actually not as popular as many people, portray him to, were it not for the fact that he had access to everything Lagos.
Well, I think it's a testimonial to the fact that Tinubu is a great manager of men and a very successful businessman. That how did they start? Most great big things started humbly. Even the biggest conglomerates in the world, they started, modestly, and that is what is expected in a business. When you started small and you nurture it very well, it blows up into a very big thing. So Tinubu, when you look at his antecedents, he paid his own dues. He was in Mobi, and he peaked there to become the treasurer of Mobi, and from there he went to business. Since then he have been, thriving in his own choosing area. So, and I feel somebody who has such capacity to be able to nurture the business to the level that it is today should be able to do same to the economy of a country.
But just
saddled with the responsibility. Therefore, the other side, one thing fundamentally, Tinubu has not been indicted by any judicial panel, any court of law. He has not been convicted of theft or any criminality. So, if anybody says Tinubu money is this and that person is just blowing to the air. After all, there are some people that have been convicted of crimes, and some people went to prison. Some people,
But as for Tinubu,
he has never been indicted. He has never been convicted.
But how on earth do you justify that on an election day, 2 billion vans, made the body loan a parking lot?
My brother, even eateries carry bullion vans to their to their restaurant to take money out. Eateries. So what are you saying?
But as a company, do they mint money in body loan?
There is not money that you see. Did you see the contents of the bullion van? Who saw the content?
Some persons were interested in knowing the content.
People were just speculating
that an empty bullion van had gone in there.
Because one thing, if no bullion van transiting money to a bank got missing and was declared wanted by Nigerian police, and if nobody complained that he lost his own money, after all, everybody knows that Tinubu is stupendously rich. Everybody knows. So if you are rich and you want to convey your money in whatever way you like for safety, you convey it. Forget about that. There are some people that load warehouses with money. He got him money. Many have been discovered in Nigeria.
But for Tinubu,
people will not say anything about them. But it is only when they hear something about Tinubu that the opposition and detractors will just be making much ado about nothing. Mountain out of a molehill.
What about his earth?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, he has a very sound head.
The Tinubu you know.
Yes. Nobody is infallible. He's a human being, you see. As a human being, there are times you have to succumb to certain ailment here and there. I mean, you could fall sick, just as simple as that. You can, as a human being, if you don't even fall sick, it's dangerous. But people that don't fall sick, when they fall sick,
if you don't fall sick, it is dangerous.
It's even dangerous. At times, when you don't have malaria, occasionally treat this. From my own background, they say when you don't fall sick, it is dangerous. Anytime you fall sick, you may go from there. So Tinubu that I know, there was a time that we were holding meetings in Babylon, and people will be in Babylon. They will hold meetings, series of meetings with Tinubu, from evening to the next morning. Different groups. Some group will spend 30 minutes, some 1 hour. As they go out, another group will come in. And this man will be there at alert, awake.
Attending to them.
Attending to them.
Maybe some 10, 15 years ago.
No. All he does in his life is holding meeting, discussing with him. That is his pastime. So that is why it's so grounded and so consolidated in this out of politics.
I'm sure the Yoruba Ronu group will be working for Tinubu. Should he be given the ticket of the party, or even before then?
We have recommended, we have endorsed him, and we have a reason for it. Because, as we are promoting the interests of the Yorubas jealously, and we've been fighting for the cause of the Yoruba, both home and at diaspora.
So what message do you have for those who believe no, Osinbajo has exhibited excellence in governance, and as such, he should just be given the opportunity? Some will say, oh, Ashwaju should go and sit down. He's, of course, he's a kingmaker. He has spent his time, no doubt he developed Lagos State, but Osinbajo, one of his products, has been able to live up to expectation. And as such, you heard what Edwin Clark said. Is another statement. At that age, going to 90, Edwin Clark did say that if he sees Tinubu's name on the ballot and he sees Osinbajo's, he would rather go for Osinbajo than Tinubu.
Yeah, that is his choice. He has a right to his choice. And, a lot of people are afraid, because for not justified reason, they are just, that this man is too powerful. This man is
they're scared of Tinubu?
Yes. So a lot of them are afraid, they are scared for not just reason. But that is, by the way. Why? Osinbajo is one of our highly respected sons. And he's very cerebral, he's sound, we know. He's one of the products of Tinubu
school of politics.
Yes. So we give it to him. But why we are opting for Tinubu is the fact that we don't want to take too high a risk in clicking the ticket. Because now it's going to be very competitive, this ticket. Very soon. You will see people coming, a crop of people. Even there will be some people that will want to orchestrate some distortion in the zoning system. But probably we will resist that. If we look at the two, Tinubu has a wider political structure and network. He has made friends all over the country. He has helped a lot of people. And all this goodwill can translate into electoral fortune, success. So we felt that for the Yoruba man to stand a brighter, chances of clicking the ticket, we need to present somebody that has the network, the connection, and probably the resources to be able to click the ticket. And at the same time, too, for the party to be able to win the presidential election convincingly, so that they can consolidate on this equivalent government, we need somebody who has such wide structure and network
to deliver.
People that is not alien to all sectors of the country. People that have friends all over the geopolitical zones. So that one too will complement the effort. It will
now
the effort of the party to win the election.
Okay, there is this another argument that everybody today, especially those in the progressive camp, they claim to be followers of Awolowo. And so a lot of people have come up with issues saying you belong to Awolowo, but we can't see the tenets of Awolowo in you. Do you agree with them?
Time changes, and a lot of things influence politics and perception of politics. Awolowo was a social democrat, and he demonstrated that very well in his programs, and we still feel the impact today. But the politics we operate now is not too much of an ideological politics. I think that is a reality. It's not
so it's true that there is no difference between PDP and APC.
It's not too much of an ideological politics. It's just the dramatic personnel, the players, that you can just, you have to carry the burden of your vices and the benefits of your virtue to rub on your party and to promote your party. So I don't see the ideological parties that we have now.
Do you know why I asked that question? Because one would have expected that the moment Tinubu declared his interest, his project should have been seen as a Yoruba project. But it's not being seen like that. And so you see this division. We've seen in the past where people would forget about their political affiliation, the party they belong to, and see a particular project as, okay, this is a Yoruba project. But a Tinubu's interest is not being seen as such. What is wrong with the Yorubas?
Well, I don't know from what perspective you see it, but I can tell you categorically that by the time the chips are down, you will see that Tinubu is a Yoruba project.
You see Payo Adebanjo supporting Tinubu. Can that happen?
My brother, Adebanjo, is one of our elder statesmen. So I will have to be cautious the way that you see, it's not compulsory that Adebanjo supports Tinubu. But I foresee them closing around,
Before
in the nearest future, very soon. Even we in Yoruba Rono group, we are trying to make some, trying to bridge the gap between this our elder statement, so that we speak with one voice. I've spoken with some leaders of Afenifere, and I'm still speaking with them because they don't have any serious issue against Tinubu. It's just a matter of little ego and here and there that we can solve. Then another thing is that Yoruba people are highly sophisticated people, highly enlightened. The Yoruba man is a different person in Nigeria. The Yoruba man believes so much in the, self-esteem and independence. They want to express themselves freely. They enjoy their freedom. So even my brother wants to aspire to something. I don't support him for certain reasons. I can come out openly and tell him. But there is one thing about them too. By the time it is necessary for them to close rank, they will come together. When Abiola came initially, some people were criticizing Abiola. He fought Awolowo. He threw the Bible into the ocean. All these things. But by the time came for them to close rank, people were dying for him.
So you see people closing around.
If you find, you'll be surprised.
Okay, what are the chances of Tinubu clinching APC ticket?
It's very bright.
Very bright.
Very bright.
Okay, on the average.
In fact, it's going to be a landslide victory for him.
Landslide?
Yes.
But some are saying the body language of President Muhammad Buhari does not indicate that maybe he will be favored. And of course, the president is critical here. Well,
the president is a devout Muslim, a highly respected, principled man. I will know that if he had any arrangement with him, he will not jettison the arrangement. That is one. Then two.
But are you aware of any?
I'm not aware. But I know that prelude to the presidential election, there were a lot of talks, there were a lot of, discussions. And as a politician, I know they must have agreed on certain things. As a politician, I know. But I don't know the details of what they agreed on. Then on the other hand, too, leave the president as the father of all. If he cannot support him, if we could not support him, I think definitely will allow a level playing ground for everybody.
Okay, let's look at it as we wrap up on this issue of Tinubu. Let's assume there is a level playing ground, and of course, all parties deploy their arsenals, okay? And at the primaries, Tinubu loses. The Tinubu do you see him pursuing his interest on the platform of another political party in a worst-case scenario?
He will never do such thing. I can vouch for that. I can vouch for him. He will never do such thing. No, Tinubu, no, he will never do such thing.
He will never. So if he loses the primary, don't forget it, he described it as a lifetime ambition.
Yes.
Will he die? The Tinubu that people know is a go-getter.
What I'm saying is that if in a democratic process, in a free and fair manner, if he loses such election, he will embrace the decision and he will support the candidate of the party.
Okay.
I don't think he's very desperate. He's not too desperate about that aspiration.
Oh.
It's a legitimate aspiration, to have an age-long, lifelong ambition. I think is normal.
Let's assess the performance of President Muhammad Buhari in office. Because all of this that we are saying, we're talking of party politics. You have the PDP to face, and the PDP is ready to give APC a run for its money. Already the PDP is saying, should it go all out the way APC did, okay, the APC may not be able to survive it. Now, let's look at the achievement of President Muhammad Buhari. If Nigerians are to vote based on the performance of the Muhammad Buhari-led administration, do you think APC has any chance in 2023?
Yeah, well, from my own conviction, I think we have very bright chances.
Very bright.
Yes.
People are complaining of hunger.
Yes. People are complaining. And I know that one day God will intervene in the affairs of Nigeria and things will be getting much, much better than now.
One day, Nigerians want it today.
No, today you can't get it today. It has been like this for a very long time. I was a kid when I've been hearing music, there is austerity, this and that. I was a young man.
Is this not peculiar?
It's not peculiar. If you look at the development, you have around you, the infrastructural development you have around, we have never had such thing in the history of our country.
Including the massive looting.
I don't understand that. What is the meaning of massive looting?
There are Nigerians who believe that.
Do you want to compare the looting of the previous government to this one? If there's any here now, because I don't expect a perfect
system. No, you can't have. The fear of Nigerians is the fact that...
Do you want to compare the looting by the Zeni? The looting of the Zeni is more than one person, or more than what all looters can loot in this present government.
That is indeed funny.
Just one person. So what are you saying? You go to the ministry, we interact with them. There is now sanity. The way they were doing things before, that people were just throwing money anyhow. You can't get that in Abuja now. Again, the civil servants are more disciplined now, and there is so much financial fiscal discipline everywhere.
Under the watch of President Muhammad Buhari.
Yes, much better. We have a grossly improved.
Nigerians got to know of budget padding under the watch of this administration.
No, it's not true.
A military officer, a top military officer, just this week, this outgoing week, had 9.1 billion naira worth of property seized from him. Under the watch of this administration.
Who seized it?
Of course, EFCC.
But before, we were not even seizing anything. People were looting and going scot-free with it. So that means that this government does not tolerate all those things.
But EFCC is not the making of the Buhari administration.
I'm not talking about EFCC making Buhari. You see, what I'm saying is that in the previous government, in the past, people were stealing and going scot-free with it. There was a case of this Dazuki Gate that government, accommodated. Look at the billions of dollars involved.
The issue with Dazuki Gate, the way the APC, the Muhammad Buhari government started out, it was as if heaven will fall. On a program during this week, a PDP chieftain challenged me and asked them what can they make or what have they done to Dazuki. And of the truth, the man is perhaps back in Sokoto drinking a camo. It's surprising with
But he has a case in the law court. It's undergoing prosecution.
But should it be even at home for
that is another subject for another day.
No, they are saying it's all propaganda.
No, my brother. If we are going to have a massive reorganization of the judicial system, it's another subject entirely. Even the president himself complained bitterly that the judicial system is slow and is not satisfied with the performances. You see, we have to put everything in place to help the judiciary to function very well. And we have to change the laws of the land. We have to change our laws, our constitution. For example, now, you look at the period it takes to prosecute a case. There are some cases that have been on for over 10, 15 years. And we adjourn this. There are certain loopholes that people can hide under. There are some technicalities that even experienced lawyers use to elongate case, frustrate people. So all this thing, we have to sit down as a nation. It's not even a problem of a government. It's a problem of a people. We have to review our laws.
It's a systemic
Well, yes, we have to
problem.
make justice dispensation faster than we have today. Some people will go to court and it will be there. There are some land cases that are as old as 20-something years.
Yes.
There are some chieftaincy cases that are old as 20-something years. And the king, who is sitting on the wrong throne, will be there for 20-something years. How many tenures is that? How many times?
What do you think Nigerians will remember, okay, this administration for less than a year now? What do you think? I will always be remembered for something. You ask people, okay, oh, no, Obasanjo was perhaps a naughty president, but this is what we'll remember him for. Jonathan will have a selling point. Yaradua, what do you think Nigerians will remember Muhammadu Buhari for?
Yeah, one thing I don't want people to get me wrong, because I know there is always room for improvement in governance, and I will expect that one to continue even with the succeeding government. There should be room for improvement, but despite the constraints, despite the challenges facing this government, there are certain things that can never be taken away from them. In the area of infrastructure, the government has done very well.
Very well.
Very well in the area of infrastructure. And I'm very sure that this remaining segment of their tenure, a lot of infrastructural projects will be completed. And the rail system, we have done very well in the provision of roads, even in the provision of electricity power. There's conspicuous improvement.
Really?
Yes, conspicuous improvement. The number of what generated compared to what we have now is conspicuous improvement. Then in the area of there were some Nigerians that have been deprived of their rights for a very long time, and this category of people lost so many of their members. You know, their family devastated, pensioners, night workers, old Biafran soldiers, all those ways that subsequent government have ignored. Buhari remembered them. He paid their pension. He restated some of their benefits. Even Biafra police, before the war, were being paid.
So if the
all these things, you know, it's a government with human face, and it can never go unnoticed.
Oh.
The agricultural revolution that has ignited now, backed with a favorable policy.
Okay, so Prince,
to encourage internal.
when a Nigerian comes out and tell you Buhari is my problem, I am hungry, I knew what my life was before he took over, you think such a person is not being sincere?
He may get it wrong, you know. People are getting this thing wrong. They are casting all blames on government. Buhari, if somebody misbehaves in the house, it is Buhari. If your son goes to do Yahoo, it's Buhari. If it is, and it is unfair. That is why some of these problems linger on. We have not been very realistic in approach to solving this problem. That these problems are leadership and followership problems. All of us must come together. All hands must be on deck. There are some, even now that we lack this, lack that, there are a lot of young men that are thriving, doing very fine in their choosing vocation. People are discovering their innate talent. People that have been hitherto, you know, redundant now have been compared by challenges and certain problems of the society orchestrated by a hostile global, you know, economy. They have discovered themselves and they are doing marvelously well. When you see some people, as we speak now, we are still looking for artisans to work all over the places. With this our large population, you don't have enough bricklayers, you don't have enough carpenters, you don't have enough tilers, And when people are complaining and complaining and complaining,
maybe
if you
maybe they've not searched for them in Ibadan, for instance.
If you have tilers, like the other time when I wanted to, when I needed the service of a tiler, I had to come to Ibadan to come and take people. In my own state there, we were looking for tilers.
There are many of them in Ibadan, maybe in Lagos State.
So you even carpenters, most people that are supposed to hold fast to their profession and mark time there till they pick and succeed, they gone to Okada riding, and you just see everybody riding Okada looking for just
peanuts,
daily peanuts, instead of building a future in a career.
But unfortunately,
so all these problems cannot be heaped on Mr. President or one person. They are societal problems. Some of them are age-long problems.
Okay, before we're wrapping up, but before we go, because I will still ask you about censors, the much talked about censors. There is this reworked electoral bill that is before President Muhammadu Buhari. He has rejected that same bill about 4 or 5 times, and this time around, all eyes on him. The clock is ticking. Come Tuesday, if he doesn't sign it, of course there will be, crisis in the land, because INEC will not have any legal instrument to work with. The civil society organization are warming up to protest, and must that happen before the needful is done? Your own personal take on that electoral bill before we begin to talk of what the president should do. The bill that has been reworked by the National Assembly, that has been taken to Mr. President, in it, do we have a perfect document?
Well, in most cases, only God that can ascribe perfection to. But to the best of my knowledge and for the workability of the electoral system, I think the bill is all right.
The bill is all right.
It's all right.
Okay.
The offensive area of the bill, or the certain area of the bill that will have generated a lot of problems that have been adequately handled. That is the consensus aspect of it. Because
the issue of direct primary.
The direct primary as a sole primary is wrong, I believe.
Okay.
Because there should be options.
But that has been reworked.
So that's been reworked. That's why I say the bill is acceptable, and I think it's appropriate now for the electoral system of Nigeria to fall back on. Now, this area, I was saying, this area of consensus, that would have been the very controversial area of the bill that was creating apprehension before. But when I read through the bill, I discovered that it has been adequately handled. Yes.
So, before President Muhammadu Buhari today is a relatively perfect electoral document. So, can you fathom the reason why the president will be dilly-dallying in giving his answer?
No, he cannot dilly-dally. It's a matter of time. Appending signature to a bill takes about 2-3 seconds. Appending signature to a bill. I know he has a lot of work to do. He may be studying the bill, but looking at certain things, and he has to wait for his aides. That we have to handle the technical aspect of all this.
And we have just maybe 48 hours to go.
But one thing is that he knows, and the advisors know that he needs to append the signature to the bill so that it will not truncate some electoral program that is on.
Is it true that the APC is afraid of the electronic transmission of results?
Why should the APC be afraid of it?
No, the PDP would not forget in haste the blow dealt with it in 2019. The PDP is still contesting that result.
It was, my brother, it was gathered from the grapevine, even from some investigation, that the PDP wanted to hack into that
server
transmission. Yes, and there were empirical proof. And
that the PDP wanted to hack into this server.
Yes, and they perfected the whole thing. The Nigerians were aware now. You are a journalist, you should know what transpired then. And so they were beaten to it. And they were disappointed.
They were beaten to it.
Yes.
Okay, so when you say they were beaten to it, it means both parties actually set out to achieve the same aim.
No. What I mean is that they frustrated their plans, beaten to their own game. They frustrated their plan. They frustrated their plan because they had everything perfectly worked out. And it would have been a major crisis for this country.
If the president
nobody's afraid of
electronic transmission. No. If the president doesn't sign this bill on Monday, and by 12 a.m. on Tuesday, there will be a crisis in the land, depending on how it will be resolved. Do you think the president will have any justification not to even sign it in the first place, not to imagine what is likely to happen afterwards?
It's a matter of this. We'll have to reflect over this thing in the next few days. You will discover that he will sign it before that.
He will sign it.
I'm very sure.
You are the first person that would be, expressing this optimism about Mr. President signing it. He has just Monday.
He will sign it now. Let us wait and see. He will not deliberately allow the crisis to brew or any problem to, he will sign it. He's the father of the whole country.
Of the nation. Let's talk about population census. Nigerians crave for one. The last time the country conducted census was in 2006. How soon are we having one? You're a federal commissioner at the National Population Commission.
Yeah, we are so... We are very happy, and we give it to Mr. President that for the first time in the past 16 years he has given a listening ear to the cry for a conduct of a national population and housing census, because it has been a major setback for this country. That's what is supposed to be periodical. 13 years, that is the expectation. We are moving into 16 years now, if I'm not mistaken, that we have conducted the last one. And this one does not all go well for our planning, because we are supposed to use updated data for our national planning and not facets of our national life. We should be tracking our population, know the characteristics of our population. And even our developmental partners have not been very happy with this. And they have been mounting pressure too, but we are very lucky that Mr. President has graciously agreed to conduct a census for us. Approved the conduct of a census. And I think we have gotten to point of no return in that respect.
Okay. In terms of planning?
In terms of planning, because there is a pre-census activity that is very germane, that we call EAD. That is enumeration area demarcation.
Has that started?
We have completed that. And that one is time bound too. It should not, we have to use it within a short period of time before it becomes.
So when are we looking at?
We are looking at towards the end of this year. I suspect November. Precisely, it could be November that we conduct the census.
November 2022.
Yes. And they have provided the money in the budget for census.
How much will it cost this country to conduct a census? A credible one?
It depends. The population have come out, the National Population Commission have come out with budget proposals, comprehensive project proposals that have been given to Mr. President to study. It should be in the region of close to 300 billion, I presume.
300 billion naira.
And Mr. President have approved. They inserted over maybe 190 something into this current budget.
Okay.
So that shows that there is willingness and preparedness to conduct a national population census.
I must say a big thank you to you. I've been talking to Prince Diran Iyantan. Of course, he's the chieftain of the All Progressives Congress from Ondo State. Is a federal commissioner at the National Population Commission. Thank you so much once again for your time.
Thank you.
He's the chairman of the Yoruba Ronu group, a socio-political cultural group. And of course, all that he has said They're quite instructive. This is where we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much, everyone who's been part of the program. See you next time.